Damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
This is Tank Dell. Tank Dell is one of the top wide receiver prospects in this year's 2023 NFL Draft after a star-studded career at Houston. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about his football journey. One as a relatively unknown high school football recruit to a college football star and projected to be one of the earlier wide receivers taken in the 2023 NFL Draft. As usual, before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. Nathaniel Tank Dell attended Mainland High School in Florida, where he was a standout wide receiver that really showed his versatility and playmaking abilities as a very speedy, shifty, elusive receiver with great hands. He was a standout for them. However, as a recruit in the 2018 recruiting class, he was relatively unknown on the national scene, as according to the 24/7 Sports Composite rankings, he was a 2-star and ranked as the number 421 receiver in the nation. Dell was someone who attended 7-on-7 circuits and even went to college football camps, where he often performed very well at all those events. However, that didn't draw much college interest, as he had one offer coming out of high school from FIU, and it was actually an offer that he was going to commit to eventually. However, FIU would stop communicating with him, and it was kind of a sign that his offer was no longer committable. Due to his offer no longer being granted at FIU, Tank Dell would now go play for Alabama A&M, an HBCU school that plays on the Division I FCS level. In Tank Dell's freshman season at Alabama A&M, he would deal with some injury issues, but when he was on the field, he was pretty productive. As in 4 games played, he recorded 12 receptions for 364 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. However, this would be his only season at Alabama A&M. As in fact, right when he got there, he knew he wasn't going to be there long and was going to go JUCO after that semester. And that's exactly what he would do, as he would then transfer to Independence Community College, the school that was featured on Last Chance U Season 3 and Season 4, except Tank Dell would not be in Last Chance U. When Tank Dell got to Independence Community College, he would be an immediate impact player, and in his one lone season there, he appeared in 10 games, where he recorded 766 receiving yards, averaging 76 yards per game, and had 8 touchdowns through the air on the season. He was one of the best and highly sought-after receivers in that entire JUCO class. Coming out of the 2020 JUCO recruiting class, Nathaniel Tank Dell was much more recruited heavily than he was in high school. He was rated as a 3-star, number 162 player in the JUCO nation, and the number 19 receiver among the JUCO wide receiver class in 2020. He held a total of 3 offers, from Houston, Akron, and USF. Now let's talk about that USF offer. USF was actually the school that was on him the earliest, and the school that was really pursuing him the most early on. And he was actually silently committed to USF at one point, but he wanted to commit on his birthday. But as time got closer, USF, they stopped talking to him, and he got the hint that he was no longer going to be a part of their class, and that's exactly what they wanted it to be. So he would end up committing to Houston. In his first year for Houston in 2020, Tank Dell would have a big role with the Cougars, as in that 2020 campaign, in the 8 games that he appeared in, he would lead them in receptions and receiving yards. He had 29 receptions on the season for 428 receiving yards, averaging about 15 yards a reception and 3 touchdowns through the air. And in his final game of the season, in their bowl game versus Hawaii, he had his best game of the year, as he had 112 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And Houston fans were very excited to see more of Tank Dell in the future. In year 2 at Houston in 2021, this time it was going to be a full college football season for everyone in the college football world, as he would play in 14 games and truly submit himself as a top receiver in the AAC, a top receiver in college football potentially, and the lead guy for Houston's pass offense. In those 14 games played, He recorded 90 receptions for 1,329 yards and 12 touchdowns through the air and was a first-team All-American Conference member. The 2022 college football campaign would be Tank Dell's last year as a Houston Cougar, and it would be a truly special season for Tank Dell as he put up a masterclass of a performance. He had his best year collegiately, 13 games played, 109 receptions for 1,398 receiving yards and 17 receiving touchdowns. He was clearly one of the best receivers in the nation during the 2022 season, and he impressed many people nationally, not only because of the play that he had in conference, but play that he had out of conference, as it was really hard to find a game where Tank Dell struggled in, as every time he had the ball in his hands, he always seemed to make some big plays. He was yet again another first-team All-Conference member for the AAC Conference. After the massive 2022 campaign, Tank Dell would declare his name for the 2023 NFL Draft, officially ending his career at Houston. A career in which he had 3,155 receiving yards and 32 touchdowns through the air. For the events prior to the NFL Draft, Tank Dell competed in the NFL Scouting Combine and the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl was a week where he had a very big time week, as he really showed out and was one of the best receiver performers that entire week of practice. He did not play in the game. However, many people have quoted him as being one of the biggest risers to touch the Reese Senior Bowl in 2023. At the NFL Scouting Combine, Tank Dell did measure in a little smaller than people expected, as he came in at the height of 5'8" and 165 pounds. However, a production score for the receiver drills, he was one of the best, as he ranked in at number 4, and for the entirety of everything, the athleticism score and production score, he ranked at number 7 out of all the receivers at the 2023 Scouting Combine, while running a 4.49 40-yard dash, which is pretty good. When taking a look at some of the strengths and weaknesses of Tank Dell's games, I think he has a lot of strength, and the strengths outweigh the negatives in his games, as I think he's a very elusive, very speedy, and ultimately someone who has a great route running repertoire with his feet work, his explosiveness, and how he can create distance and keep that distance against many great DBs that he's faced against in his college football career. And of course, if you look at his production at Houston, you cannot argue against it. However, he does have some things to be concerned about. He is a pretty small receiver, 5'8", 165 pounds, and of course that can be a big concern. And he did have some problems at Houston with sometimes some drops. He did drop 21 total passes over the last 2 seasons, according to Pro Football Focus, and he does struggle in high contact situations on routes. Well guys, you made it this far in today's video. Drop something down in the comment section below what videos you want to see in the future, and before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.